Hello, and thank you for joining us for this webinar from Savision. My name is Stephen Dwyer. I'm a Senior Systems Architect here at Savision, and today we're going to be discussing live maps, visualization and business context for System Center. So a few things to get out of the way before we begin. We're of course recording this webinar, so if you want to hear it back later or you want to pass it on to a friend or colleague, we'll definitely make that available to you afterwards. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions as we go through this presentation, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A box, and we'll get to them at the end. So we're going to start off today with an introduction to live maps. We'll talk a little bit about what live maps is and how our existing customers are using it to greatly improve their productivity. I know we do have some existing live maps users with us for this webinar, and for them, we're going to be showing off some great new features that we've recently added to the product. And as we go through the introduction, we're going to show off some tips and tricks that are hopefully going to be new for everyone. And then we're going to move on to discuss some features that our development teams are hard at work on right now. We're going to put the power of live maps literally in your hand, wherever you might be. And we're going to give you at-a-glance access to the metrics that make the most sense for your unique business. Finally, as I mentioned, we're going to be answering any and all questions that you might have about Savision, live maps, and how we work with System Center. So, what is live maps? Well, I like to say that live maps make System Center easier. It makes it easy to see at a glance the health of things that are important to you and your business. It makes it easy for you to immediately know the full business impact of any problems that System Center flags. And it makes it easy for you to get more done with less. Who's using live maps? Well, here at Savision, we're very proud of our extensive list of customers. The logos and names that you see on the screen here are just a small fraction of the companies and government organizations that are using live maps on a daily basis, and that they see a value in using it as a complement to System Center. What do they get out of it? Well, some of the numbers that you see on the screen here are taken from an actual sampling of our customers and represent their savings with live maps. Number one is reduced help desk incidents, because they don't need to make unnecessary or non-critical alerts a priority, because live maps shows them exactly which ones matter the most. And they can do a better job of tuning their System Center operating environment. Start first with their critical business services and processes, and then expand outwards to the systems which aren't essential. When a problem does occur for our customers, they can see exactly which systems are impacted and what the business cost is going to be. Our nested maps guide them directly to the underlying issue, so they don't need to waste any time on wild goose chases, resulting in much, much faster root cause analysis. And finally, less expert knowledge is required to model their systems, services, and processes. Once they do have a model set up, live maps automatically keeps it up to date as hardware and applications are added and removed from their environment. Some of the things customers are saying and using live maps for: Frost National Bank in Texas has reduced time to resolution of IT problems from hours down to actually minutes. Investec has freed up IT staff before they had actually manually checking the health of their critical business services. In Queensland, Australia, the Department of Education and Training has been able to delegate more authority to their junior engineers and has freed up the time of their Level 3 support staff. And the Dublin Airport Authority has actually reduced training time for new hires that they bring on board. So before we get into live maps itself, we just want to ask the question, what do you get with System Center Operations Manager? Right out of the box, you get lists. You get lists of objects like Windows servers, web servers, Exchange servers, clusters, disk drives, and so on. You get lists of alerts. And if you've enabled notifications to a pager or mobile device, you get a lot of sleepless nights. What do you get instead with live maps? You get hyperlinked visualizations with true business context. You can create high-level dashboards that model your services from different points of view, and you can include summaries for business executives, application owners, and IT specialists. So if we look just at the example dashboard on the screen here, you'll see that we're looking at a number of different applications. We've got our order entry application, our SAP implementation, customer relationship management, and so on. And then we can see the health of those applications from the point of view of different people in the organization. So the business executives, the application owners, and IT people. And here, our order entry system has a warning for the application owners to pay attention to and the business executives. One click, and we're right into a diagram of the application itself. So you can start troubleshooting process from here and keep moving on. And from the order entry application, one click and you're right into the underlying component. So here we can open up our web farm and we can see the different web servers and websites that make up that web farm. And again, this is what is known in Live Maps as a dynamic list. So as new websites come on board, Live Maps automatically recognizes them and will keep this list up to date. But not only this list, but any associated maps and diagrams that are linked to it. So add a new website here and the health is automatically percolated back up to your application dashboard. So I think it's an important thing, so I just want to run through it quickly one more time. System Center Operation Manager. I'm looking at right now just a sea of red. I've got monitors that System Center, in its wisdom, has decided to label as critical. Is that critical me? I don't know. This might be an end user problem, or it might be a box in the corner that, well, we monitor is not really important to a lot of people. Again, I've got a whole bunch of alerts. Again, all red, all labeled critical. Are these alerts the cause of the problem I'm having right now or a symptom? I don't know. Contrast that to Live Maps. I've got a dashboard. I can see right away the status of my critical business services and processes. I only need to model the things that matter to me that I'm interested in receiving alerts about. I have a problem, one click takes me right into the application. And here we can see the problem is actually the payment provider watcher. I've outsourced my credit card processing to a third party, my external payment provider, and something's gone wrong there. Right away, one click from here to here, I know the root cause of the problem. I know who to call. I know how to get it fixed. So that's what we say, hyperlink visualizations with true business context. I know what is costing me when those problems occur, and I know how to get them fixed. So how do we go setting up one of these visualizations? Well, with Live Maps, we include a point-and-click authoring console that makes authoring these maps, I would say, easy and sometimes even quite fun. So let's take a demonstration and just see how that goes. So here we're going to actually build out one of these dashboard applications. So I'm in the Live Maps authoring console right now. First thing I'm going to do is create one of these dynamic lists. So I'm going to choose List. And here we're going to do my SQL servers. We're going to get a list of all the boxes hosting SQL databases in my environment. So we'll just create that view. And I should mention to those of you new to Live Maps, everything here is going to be saved right into the Operations Manager database. So then it's available from anywhere you can connect a console. All right, so I've got my list. I'm going to create a membership rule. I'm going to say, find me all the Windows servers that are hosting SQL database. And I can just preview the matches here. In our environment, we have one box. And I'll say OK, and we'll add it to the list. Now, right now we have the one box. If we were to add more in the future, it would automatically be added to this list with no effort on your part at all. At the same time, I can also just grab arbitrary pieces of my infrastructure and just add them to the list as well. Point, click, drag. So we'll just save that list. And then we're going to go on and we're going to add one more little list. This will be for my IIS servers. So my web hosts. fact, we're going to add a membership rule here. Again, we're going to look for Windows servers, and this time that are hosting IIS web servers. Show matches to preview. Got a number in this environment. Okay. And we've added. And again, this list is going to be kept up to date as we add ones, as we take some away. Now that we have these lists of the underlying components, we're going to create a dashboard. I'm just going to make a little diagram. I'm going to call it My IT Dashboard. And add a dashboard item. So now I've got these lists over here, my IIS servers, my SQL servers. I'm just going to grab the SQL servers, drop them right here. So now this dashboard has the rolled up health state of all my SQL servers that appeared in that list. And we can do some customization. We can change the image if we want. Live Maps comes with a whole bunch of images built in. We'll make it look like a little database because that's what they are. We can change the background. Purple's a popular color right now. Let's make a little gradient. And there we go. We can do the same thing. We'll just create another item to add the IIS servers. And we'll title it My IT Dashboard. If we want, we can add a fill color to that to make it a little prettier. So now when we go into Operations Manager, you'll be able to see this dashboard, and the health state of all the SQL servers will be rolled up. The health state of all the IIS servers will be rolled up. Now, people using this dashboard, they might have a question, what do I do if that thing goes red? Now, of course, there's knowledge in System Center Operations Manager, but you might have your own knowledge source as well. So let's just add a little link here to our knowledge base. And we'll make it look like a link by adding an underline. And then we'll make this a hotspot. So a hotspot in Live Maps is anywhere you can click on something and we can bring up some other sort of information. We can bring up additional Live Maps views. We can bring up monitoring objects. And in this case, we're going to bring up a web page. Now, here in Knowledge Base, you'd want to bring up your own internal link. We'll just do Savision.com. And if you want, you can add a background picture to this. You can put your company logo in and so on. So we'll just save that. We'll jump into Operations Manager. We'll bring up my IT dashboard. And here we are. We've got the link we can click on to bring up the web browser. We've got these linked maps. So here's the rolled up health MySQL servers. Just double click on that and I'm right into the list of the SQL servers themselves. I can jump back, bring up health of the IIS servers themselves, and so on. And of course from here too I can open up the Health Explorer, Performance View, Diagram View, and so on. So that's how you go about creating a quick and simple dashboard. Of course, we have customers that make far more complex ones and ones that look quite a bit prettier than the one I did just now. So that's a dashboard we created. What else can you do with Live Maps? Well, these are a couple other dashboards. Just an idea, you can do very high-level ones. Here's one that's looking at, different applications, IT assets in a city, in a particular office complex. More low-level IT-centric one, looking at your network, your printers, internet connectivity. You can also create network topologies. Here's a diagrammatic view of our network. Here the nice thing is, say System Center Operations Manager flags an alert against NL switch 1-2. Do I know what that is? Not really. Come into Live Maps and I can see, oh, that's my first floor Wi-Fi access. Guest Wi-Fi access, I don't really care that much, as if there had been an alert on the third floor where the CEO is trying to browse the internet. You can model out actual floor plans for your data centers, even model the racks and the towers with the servers inside them themselves. And actually, we do have a number of customers that actually put a lot of time and effort into taking architectural diagrams of their floors and then putting accurately every single piece of IT hardware that they have so that when there is an issue, they know exactly where to go. You can also model business processes. This is a great way of seeing exactly what the end user is seeing. So here we have an online product evaluation. You go from registering an account to downloading an actual package. If there's an issue with that, you can come in, you can see where is the end user having a problem. If you bring this up on your display, leave it there all the time. Actually, some of our customers in the Network Operations Center have live maps up on the big displays so their operators can see all the time, and they'll rotate through the different maps. You can be very proactive. You don't need to have a customer call in. You don't need to have a help desk incident. You can see right away, hey, there's something with, say, the SQL database that's keeping track of the contact information as people put them in. Of course, we also offer all sorts of geographic maps, let you know exactly where in the world your IT assets are, let you model the network links between them. We also provide you with external data sources, so you can add in overlays of weather information, electrical outage information, and so on. And as well, everything is displayable in SharePoint. So if you want to share these maps with the application owners, with the business owners, you don't need to give them Operations Manager console access, and they don't need to spend time figuring out another application. They can simply go into SharePoint, look at the maps, look at the dashboards, and again, everything's linked together, so it's all at their fingertips. This is a great way of adding more accountability to IT and being more transparent so that everyone can go in from SharePoint, see exactly what's going on. So everything that we've looked at so far is something that Live Maps can do today right out of the box. Live Maps integrates with your System Center Operations Manager console. Maps and views are available to everyone running the console, running your own web console, and of course integrating with SharePoint. You can scope the views if you need permissioning. We support both 2007 R2 and 2012. So what's new? Over the last few months, we've put out 2 update releases of Live Maps that incorporate some brand new features. And I should mention too that many of the features that we're putting in the Live Maps are based on actual customer feedback. We're focused on building a product that meets your needs, so if you have any suggestions or things you'd like to see, we'd really love to hear from you. One of the new features we put in is integration with System Center Service Manager. So once you put a lot of time and effort into building out your models and services in Live Maps authoring console, we now let you leverage that information in System Center Service Manager. We bring all the definitions you've created into Service Manager so you can see at a glance what is impacted by any change requests and incidents in Service Manager. So let's just take a look at that. Here I have the Service Manager console. We've added a new connector to Service Manager called Live Maps. And what that does is it synchronizes Service Manager and the Operations Manager database. So you can see here, we let you select a list of the live maps that you've created. Here we've got the SQL servers and the IIS servers that we created before. And you can select which ones you want to bring in to Service Manager, bring them all in if you want, and then set a schedule so that as you make changes in the Live Maps authoring console, This synchronization runs once a day, brings those changes right in. Once you have the live maps in Service Manager, what can you do with them? Well, we can take a look at change requests, for example. Here's someone's very low-tech way of troubleshooting. Create a change request, please reboot server. So let's open up that change request. We look at it, it's got a name of machine, Hyper-V1, please reboot it. What's actually going to happen if I reboot that machine? I actually don't know. But now with our new integration, we can say open up the affected services. And I can see that that machine actually participates in our online store. It's definitely customer facing. If I open up the service, I can look at the service components. And I can see that that host itself is responsible for credit card processing. Now, if I go and reboot that machine, definitely going to have an end user impact. At the same time, I can also right from here open up that live map. Just wait for it to come up. And when I do open up that live map, I'm going to be able to see is that machine working all by itself to service the credit cards, or is it perhaps part of a cluster? If it's part of a cluster, I don't really care then if I'm going to go ahead and reboot it. If it's by itself, I have some issues. So right from Service Manager, I can look at change request. I can see what the business cost is going to be. I can open up the live maps to investigate further. And here I can even start troubleshooting, opening up the Health Explorer to see, maybe I can fix this without rebooting the machine. We do the same thing for incidents as well. So let's look at the list of open incidents. Here's someone's reported database offline. Now when they did that, all they actually put in, again, this Hyper-V machine does a lot of stuff for us. All they put in was the name of the machine. Live Maps then comes in behind the scenes, and what we do is we populate the affected services. So right in this incident, you can see machine name, but also that's part of the online store. And again, you can open it up and investigate the service components and so on. So all the work that you've done modeling your services, modeling your processes in Live Maps, we bring right in the Service Manager to give you much, much more context around the things that you're trying to change or the problems you're trying to solve. And then if you take a look in configuration items, we also show you all the business services that we synchronized in. So here, of course, we just brought in the one for this demo, the online store. And again, from right here, you can open up the live map to take a look at it. Now, another item that we've added to live maps is interactive maps. We've obviously supported static geographic maps in our product, but now we've added maps powered by Bing Maps. So let's take a look at that. So here I have the Live Maps web console, and I'm looking at the eastern seaboard of the United States. And all of these pins represent either individual pieces of IT hardware or clusters. We recognize that you might have dozens or even hundreds of objects in about the same space, perhaps at the same address. So we actually put clustering in. So by hovering over this pin, I can see that this pin represents 3 different objects. They're all in the healthy state. If any of them were critical or warning, this pin would change color to indicate that. And I can zoom right in. I can say zoom right to region to view the individual pins themselves. And if any of them were critical or warning, we can actually say just zoom in to the ones that have a problem. Now, the other nice thing about this map is we can add layer information. So this takes And here we can see the weather popping up. This map takes KML or KMZ files, which are a file format for adding information, either static or actually you can pull it down from the web to a map. Again, all sorts of different sources of KML files. You can get ones for the weather to overlay to see if there's a big storm front headed for your data centers. You can get some from electric utilities to say where there are outages in the area. So you might have to check the diesel levels on your generators. You can get other ones for forest fires if you have to be in that area of the world, but that might be a concern, and so on. So it lets you take this external data and overlay it on your own IT information to see if there are things that are outside of your control that might be impacting your network or your business processes. And of course, with Bing Maps, we also pull in geographic information like the actual street address and so on. You can go satellite view. You can show actually just the roads if you want. And to actually create these maps, again, we use the authoring console. You can drag and drop objects right onto the map. You can actually drag other views. So if you have a view that represents a floor plan of your office space, you can drop that floor plan right at the actual address on the map, and then from the map you just double-click and you're right into the view of the office. We also recognize that a lot of you might have a lot of assets that you want to add to your map. So we actually have a wizard to do bulk imports. That wizard will spit out a file containing all the assets that you want to add to the map. Then you match it up using either the street address from your own data sources or the latitude and longitude from your own data sources. Re-import the file, and we drop everything on the map for you. Again, all the maps are scrollable and zoomable. We think it's much, much nicer addition than just the static maps that we had before. Then another thing that we've added are more advanced membership rules. Again, this was driven actually from customer requests. Let's take a look at it. We'll just go to the authoring console, and we gave actually a little preview of this before, but we'll look at it in more depth. So here we have these membership rules. These membership rules determine what objects are going to appear on the map and how we keep that map up to date over time as your environment changes. If you'd used live maps previously, this dialog might be familiar to you in a little less advanced sense, in which you were allowed to choose, show me objects of the following class that adhere to a following filter. So I could say the name and then match the name. So it contains, matches wildcard, so on. So I could say, show me all the Windows servers that contain Exchange in them. Might be my naming convention to bring up my Exchange servers. With the new release, we've gone a little deeper than that. And let's say I'll just grab a physical disk, for example. Previously, you could say physical disk where display name was, SCSI port was, and so on. Now, in the new release, you can actually go down and say where the host has certain properties. So before, you might not have a naming convention, or System Center or the server operating systems might not allow you to create particular names for some of the objects you wanted to model. Now you can bring that up to the host level. So pick off the physical disk on a particular server. Pick off the applications on a particular server. And this hosting goes to arbitrary depth. So if this physical disk actually had something between it and the server, you'd go host, then you go host here, as many hosting levels as are available in System Center Operations Manager. So we think it lets you have much more granularity when you're trying to create these dynamic lists. Again, hosted classes, as we showed before, find any object, Windows Server, and so on, where it hosts something that is the following class. So your Windows servers that host your SQL servers, Windows servers that host Active Directory, applications that host particular users. And then going the other way, you can say find me objects of a particular class, say System Center agents, where they are hosted by something in a particular group. So find me the System Center agents on my Exchange machines, for example. So this is a realization that a lot of management packs create different groups. You might have created a lot of groups as well. And now Live Maps lets you use those groups in further defining your services and processes in Live Maps as well. That's the new advanced authoring rules that we've added to Live Maps. And the feedback we've gotten from people who are using it already says they're very, very happy with it, and they can actually do a lot more with Live Maps and do better modeling. That's what we have if you decide to actually purchase today. Late in the first quarter of 2013, we're going to be rolling out new features to Live Maps. Sort of a webinar exclusive, we're going to give you a sneak peek of what those features are going to be. So the first one is a mobile application. Coming soon, you're going to be able to take your Live Maps on the go with you. With one glance at your phone or tablet, you're going to be able to see the state of your critical business services and infrastructure. And you're going to be able to receive notifications when the health states of your Live Maps change. Not just when there's an alert created against a component of the map, but when actually the health state changes, you're going to receive an alert. So you see here some actual screenshots, because we've got a couple of demos running already in-house. So you can see notification coming to the phone. You can see a list of maps and their health states. And in the actual production version, those icons are going to be a little nicer looking. And then you can actually drill down right to the alert level as well. A number of our customers have also told us that they're very interested in building out dashboards that concentrate on performance and SLA metrics. So our new release includes a System Center Operations Manager 2012 widget. Fortunately, widgets are new in 2012, so we don't have 2007 support for that. But what the widget does is it lets you select a live map and then choose a variety of performance metrics that are being collected for objects within that live map. You're going to be able to view the instantaneous values for those metrics and also look at historical information. And color coding is going to indicate when those metrics have gone out of whatever bounds you've decided are acceptable. So here we have an example of a particular widget where the organization is very concerned about SQL Server contention. So they've decided to create a little widget that models server locks. So the lock timeouts, requests per second, and so on. So this live map is of their SQL servers. We can show the alerts for the servers in that live map. Color it yellow because there's some warning. And then we show the value for those metrics that are being pulled into the Center Operations Manager. At the same time, we'll also show you the historical minimum and maximum values, and we'll show you the historical trends. So it's a really good way of building out a dashboard. You can actually take more of these widgets and layer them all together onto a dashboard if you're very performance-oriented or SLA-oriented as well. So by building out dashboards, especially high-level ones showing applications and processes, and then embedding them in portals like SharePoint, everyone in your organization is going to be able to see the status of your systems and services. By sharing this information with your business unit managers and your executives, you can provide greater transparency into and accountability from IT. And by itself, as we've talked about, System Center Operations Manager provides you just with endless lists of objects and alerts, all equally demanding of your time and attention. Live Maps, you can tailor the interface to show you just the things that are important to you at a business level and show you the context in which these alerts and unhealthy states arise. Your staff can see at a glance what the state of every system is, and they can know where they need to concentrate their attention. And even better is that Live Maps help you focus your troubleshooting efforts. Instead of being confronted with dozens or even hundreds of alerts and unhealthy objects, you guys can start to troubleshoot your issues in a systematic way. Start from a status dashboard showing the impacted service and then methodically drill down to the server component that's its root cause. and then overlay external data sources into our new interactive maps to see if the fault's actually something under your control or something that's beyond something that you can fix. Another great thing about live maps, I don't know if you were on our webinar a few weeks ago where we had Cameron Fuller. He talked about moving to System Center 2012. One of the things he really emphasized, especially if you're new to operations manager, is getting that initial win. So taking a particular service, a particular process, focusing your effort on that, and getting a win for IT and for the organization. Live Maps makes it very easy to come in to model that particular service and then create some great looking dashboards that you can show to the higher executives, show how you're really getting value out of System Center Operations Manager. And then also you'll watch this, the root cause time to find the root cause of problems drops, help desk instances drop as well. We quite regularly publish information on our website. We have a blog. We also have a lot of resources that show you tips and tricks on how to get more out of live maps. Some of the things have come up in just the last few months. Using live maps to actually prevent alert notification storms. So really just get exactly the alerts that you need so that you can ignore the noise and get right to the problem. Dennis, one of our founders, put a great article up on creating fancy-looking dashboards with Operations Manager. We find executives really tend to like the fancy-looking dashboards, and it gives just everyone a better idea of what's going on in IT as well. And time-saving tricks like putting a complete map into maintenance mode. So we really encourage you to take a look at Savision.com and our resources and blog section. So that brings you really to the end of the information we'd like to share with you today on how you can bring business context and visualizations into System Center using live maps. I am more than happy to answer any questions you might have. If you just want to answer them in the Q&A window, or if you want to keep them just between us, enter them in the chat window, and we'll be happy to get you some answers. So we'll give you a few minutes if you have any questions. Again, we at Savision would really like to thank you for taking the time and effort to join us for this webinar today. We really have fun here at Savision building out a product that we think is very helpful and is going to get you a lot more value out of System Center. And we really encourage feedback if there's something that you'd like to see in the product as well. So I'm not seeing any questions. If you do have anything that you'd like to ask afterwards, feel free. There's a contact form on our website. Write to us at support or sales@savision.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you very, very much for joining us, and have a great Christmas season.